Hello, everybody. My name is Montana. As the leader of the second team of high school, and I will be representing as the deputy of the prime minister.
I, Alxandra Wong, will represent as the Prime Minister today.
I, Arka, will represent as the leader deputy of opposition.
Let's begin.
I, as the Prime Minister, am stating that I agree that the government needs to focus on local agenda over a global one. According to the 20 and 23 Inform Risks Index, Indonesia had been ranked in the top third country with utmost risks of climate hazards. This including flooding, droughts, and heat waves. Quoting the statement of the head of the National Disaster Management Agency of Indonesia, Suharyanto, said that climate change has been proven to increase the frequency of disaster events very drastically and more extremely. Can you imagine how bad the disasters would be for Indonesia that is placed on top country with most risks to climate hazards? Our very own country, Indonesia, had been and is going through a lot of climate change-based disasters. As the largest archipelagic country in the whole world, Indonesia is very vulnerable to environmental damage and pollution. Based on the data on National Disaster Management Agency, the trend of increasing numbers of natural disasters occurring in Indonesia has increased by up to 82% if seen from 2010 to 2022. And throughout the year of 2023, 4,838 natural disasters had occurred in Indonesia. From all those crazy numbers of disasters, there are three deadliest disasters of them all, namely forest and land fires with 1,802 incidents, floods with 1,168 incidents, and extreme weather with 1,155 incidents. The disasters resulted in at least 265 people dying, 33 people being declared missing, and 5,783 people being injured due to the impact of the disaster. Apart from that, a total of around 8.85 million people had to displaced because their homes were damaged. Another climate change-based disaster is crop failure in a number of national rice burns due to severe drought. The results of Compass R&D analysis in October 2023 shows that every 1 degree Celsius increase in air temperature a year will reduce rice production by around 4,500 tons in Indonesia. This had caused food shortage, and it will only get worse and worse over time. The risk of crop failure is very real and concerning. As August and to October 2023, Yahukimo Regency experienced a severe drought and crop failure due to extreme weather conditions, resulting to food shortage. As the consequences, residents faced hunger and starvation. Even in late October of 2023, reports indicates that residents in Amuma district, Papua, were suffering due to crop failure, and 11 people, including infants and adults, have died due to the famine and lack of food. Our people lost their home, their family, and even their own lives, be it by the disaster itself or the food shortage it caused. Our government absolutely has to focus on those people and the disaster that suffers them. Focusing on the climate change problem based in Indonesia, that is again the biggest archipelagic country, is already a real challenge. The human rights of our own people is not even fully fulfilled as again, people still dies out of hunger. People still breathe the air that is not meeting the standards of World Health Organization. There is no room to be fussing over another country's disaster when we have thousands of unsolved problems in our own country. Yes, Indonesia can and in fact must participate in global movement to reduce the impact of the global warming. But the environmental movements of local agenda must be the government's priorities for many of reasons that I have stated before. Global level problem of climate crisis, such as sustainable development goals and Paris Agreement, can only be solved by the participation of every single country to solve and takes care of their own causes and disasters of global warming. If every country's focus are scattered around, the global problem of climate crisis itself will never be able to be solved. That is why every country's priorities should be on their own, as focusing on smaller space of a problem would make it easier to take care of. If every single country's focus are on and able to solve the environmental problems in their country, both the local and global agenda would be fulfilled at the same time. Again, I, as the Prime Minister, am stating that focus on finding solution for our own local agenda is the best way for Indonesia to participate in global movement to reduce the impact of the global warming. So, the government's focus must be on our own country. Thank you.
I, as the leader deputy of opposition, disagree with your statement that we should focus only on a local problem over a global problem. Yes, it's true that climate change is dangerous, but climate change is not happening exclusively in Indonesia. It's happening globally, around the world. Many countries' existence are endangered due to climate change disasters. For example, Somalia is having a huge problem of extreme food insecurity. Somalia suffers from vast number of malnourished children and a huge population which needs humanitarian aid as conflict is ongoing. Roughly 3 million people require food assistance in Somalia. The situation is worsening by recurring severe droughts. The floods are a result of rains, which is the monsoon-like rainfall that comes every March in the region. Every year, in the period shortly after the rains, from March to July, flash floods hit the lower Juba and lower Shabelle regions of Somalia. These flash floods cause devastation and destruction, causing casualties and displacement. Second example is Yemen, which has years of conflict that has caused an economic crisis and high level of fragility. 8 years of war in Yemen have taken a devastating toll on civilians. The conflict has claimed over 377,000 lives and displaced 4.5 million people. 21 million people need humanitarian assistance, and 17 million people in Yemen are extremely hungry. The conflict has destroyed the country's infrastructure, including major roads and airports. The collapse of the economy, high cost of goods, and devalued currency makes it hard for people to access the basic necessities. From the result of my research in rescue.org, by the end of 2022, 17 million people in Yemen require food assistance, while 1.3 million pregnant women and 2.2 million children require treatment for malnutrition. Climate change has worsened desertification and drought in the country. Another example is the Central Sahel. The Central Sahel suffers from a combination of both climate change and also conflict. From our research, about 78% of the region's population relies on the agriculture sector for work and are heavily impacted by increasing temperatures. and climate shocks. Long-term political decisions and conflicts have further weakened the community's ability to adapt to climate change. In Central Sahel, temperatures are rising 1.5 times faster than the rest of the world and are projected to increase 35.6 to 39.7 degrees Fahrenheit by 2080. Niger loses between 100,000 and 120,000 hectares of arable land to soil erosion and desertification annually. Parts of central Niger experiences temperatures of 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 Celsius and above for more annual than 300 days a year. This reduces the number of areas available to farmers and has contributed to increased conflict in the country. If we were to focus on global problems, we could potentially cooperate and gain the help of other countries. And with that help, we could save more life and lessen the climate-based disasters in Indonesia. For example, 37 years ago in Montreal, Canada, world leaders came together to make a landmark agreement to protect the ozone layer. Countries came together in 1985 to agree to the Vienna Convention for the protection of the ozone layer as a framework to investigate the problems and its solution. Australian scientists plays an important role in the global assessment of the ozone depletion and recovery and monitoring the progress of the Montreal Protocol. Recent researches from the Department of Climate Change, Energy, the Environment and Water, or the DCCEW from Australia, confirms that while the ozone layer has been seriously harmed by human actions, it can also recover. The ozone layer is estimated to reach full recovery in 50 years. If we were open more if we were more open globally, we can get food donated from other countries to Indonesia. These food donations can really help the victims of flooding, forest fires, and drought. If we were able to pour our resources to help other countries globally, we could find a new way of helping our own country. For example, we could help fund and research in more eco-friendly vehicles, more effective filters for factories to reduce the air pollution in Indonesia, and more environmentally friendly power supplies. Thank you.
As the Deputy of Prime Minister, we will summarize the statement of the opposition and the government side has stated, and give my point of view. Despite not exclusively happening in our great country Indonesia, you might reconsider that statement. Thus, is happening globally as the country-owned citizen must focus on our local first as a step-by-step to minimize these climate change in our globe. Although these massive problems all around the world, such as Somalia that we have example, evidently serious. However, up to this time, we should focusing help ourselves and our problems rather than other countries' problem, owning to the fact that our problem in the local environment could also lead to higher risk. For example, our capital city Jakarta have a high risk of a chest infection, irritation to the eyes, skin, mouth, and nose, as well increasing susceptibility towards the developing respiratory elements such as emphysema, prosthetics, and aggravated asthma. With some 10.7 million inhabitants as of 2020, and its metropolitan area covering 6,392 kilometers in regards to Jakarta pollution problems. Statistically speaking, it comes with a poor quality of air. In 2019, it came with a PM2.5 yearly average of 49.4 micrograms per square meter. PM 2.5 refer to microscopic particulate matter of 2.5 or less micrometers of diameter, with wide range of detrimental effect on human health and environment. As such, is one of the main pollutants used to calculate a country's overall air quality rating. In regards, Jakarta in 2019 readings of 49.4 micrograms per square meters. These numbers would put into the unhealthiest for sensitive group bracket, which require a PM 2.5 reading of anywhere between 30.5 to 50.5 micrograms per meter square to be classified as such. Just as the name suggests, a reading such as this would affect direct negative health effect on certain demographic on population, with your young children and elderly, those poor level of health or pre-existing condition being the most vulnerable. Despite these demographics being particularly at risk, and average PM 2.5 reading this high would be detrimental in even more with good health when exposed over a long period of time. To reiterate on the poor level of air quality in Jakarta, the 2019 reading put into 126th place out of all the most polluted cities ranked in the world. This is high ranking, and some comparison, Bangkok came in position number 737, with a PM 2.5 reading of 22.8 micrograms per cubic meters. Take over 2019. That is more than double double that of Bangkok, which somewhat already infamous from the level pollution. These are numbers contributing factors of regards the high levels of pollution in Jakarta. During the years of 2019, a PM 2.5 reading of 67.2 micrograms per cubic meter was recorded, putting a month air quality on the unhealthiest bracket 55.5 to 150.4 micrograms per cubic meter to be classed as such. In order for readings as high as this to be coming in source such as vehicles, factory emissions, and open burning of organic materials all around the park. As it is good to help other countries to minimize those climate changes, still think on the impact on the globe if we fix the increasing natural disasters that was seen from 2010 to 2022 and throughout 2023. It can potentially motivate other countries to do so as we soon example to them. Many lives could be saved, many animals has low risk of extinction, and many children could experience a world with clean natural air without diseases that could cut their life expansion. Because these children are our future, and we want them to live that chance to live up to it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our debate. Done.
Cut.
Done.